That's why I can't get over that shit, bro. I go all the way up and it ain't gonna stop me.
Hey, I'm just falling over. Let me get one of those slow motion pictures, bro.
Sorry, you got CC first. Yeah.
Come on,
yeah. So much. Yeah.
Let's get things ready here.
They say they wanna hear that raw shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach shit. Cause if they make the wrong move and coach shit. They see me, they like, ooh, keep on stopping. I'm on my way up and they ain't gon' stop it. They say they wanna hear that raw shit. I'm on my way. Coming up on my devotion. They see me, they like, ooh, keep on stopping. I'm on my body, real niggas right beside me. Damn right, I brought my army, going up like a rocket. Can't nobody stop me. These niggas garbage, so watch your mouth, boy. Coming all black, slithering.
Hey, watch the camera, watch the camera.
Boy. I'm off the hip like a cowboy. I'm a king, you should bow, boy. Shorty like damn, me, nothing I can handle. 144 with the booth, going Rambo. Niggas do you dirty like a stick in a bando. That's why I play the corner like a bum with a banjo. I'ma lead by example. Keep on stopping, got this bitch off the hand, got this juice, got the drip, about to hit the bitch with the salt. It ain't rap, it's assault. Can't taste a bitch unless you with the coke. They say they wanna hear that raw shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach shit. Cause if they make the wrong move and coach
I do it how a veteran be. You better than me. I'm Reggie at the edge of the key. It's all money, no honey. Think you settling see? You locked up, fucked up, and it's back to the streets. It's one West. You can check the residency. I reside with soldiers died on the soles of their feet. Cause there's death before designer. Ain't no coward in me. Cause I'm cold as a bitch's shoulder. You ain't calling a week. Get the cooking on his beat. Hope you like it well done. Got them killers rolling with me and they all red rum, red rum, red rum. Got you fucking scared some. Hit the banging on his beat till my fucking head numb. Black lock, red drum, black and yellow air ones. Homie, you ain't got a vest. I suggest you wear one.
Going up, doing a lot of talking. Now these niggas ain't saying shit.
Feeling like a legend in this shit, lil nigga, I'm past veteran. Never feeling third, lil nigga, I'm past second. Guns, I gotta have them all like Ash Ketchum. Shotty break a nigga ribs up like his wife left him. We all stepping, kill you with kindness cause I'm dead nice. That 5'7" put you 6 feet, not talking height. That judge giving out 5, what you doing life. These hands are rude, GPS, a mean right. That's mean right, we build different, you know the vibes. And we stamped it authentic, we know the ride. I keep a 144 because I know a guy. Know it's harsh, you know I'm with animals when we flowing by. We back again, no cap, when I'm with cap again. Yeah, they say they want smoking, so we matching them. Everything righteous, so you know when we get back at them, you get hit up with a K, but no acronym.
They say they wanna hear that raw shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach shit. If they make the wrong move and
What? Top drop?
see me, they like,
If I could, like it, yeah.
I'm on my way up,
I need
and
like
they ain't gon' stop it. They say they wanna hear that raw shit.
I need like
Coming up on my
There it is, there it is. All right, clap it up. Shalom Yashala. Oh, let me close that at. Yahweh Shema Shabrakatha, Yahweh Shema Thunba Shem Yahweh Shai. This is the I.S.U.P.K under command of General Yohana. It started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York in 1969. And we are here to teach the truth of the Bible that blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are the real Jews that the Bible speaks of. Throughout, sir. Appreciate that. Today's class is about iron brotherhood. Brothers need to look out for each other in these days, especially us brothers in the truth. You understand? Because we're the ones that are supposed to show the world how it's really done, how unity between blacks and Hispanics is supposed to look like. You know what I'm saying? Because out in the world, you see nothing but gang violence. You see all types of drug dealing. You see a lot of fights and world star hip hop videos. And what gets all the attention amongst blacks and Hispanics when it comes to us spreading, social media? What is it? If it's not whoredom that our women are spreading on social media, it's brothers fighting each other and scrapping against each other and shooting each other up. Those are the things that we. So I can turn that back again. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the thing that we need to keep in mind. The Most High is looking and seeing the things that we're doing on this earth to each other. And the reason why our people are in the condition that they're in is because of the way we treat each other. And we need to come together and solidify our unity like iron. You know what I'm talking about? And of course, in the scriptures, this is exactly what Christ did. Christ did the same thing. In fact, let me go ahead and start with that. Let me get St. John chapter 13 and verse 34 to begin with the class. You understand? So the water for everybody tuning in, make sure that you, of course, have your notes, King James Bible, you know what I'm saying, the whole nine, taking notes and writing down the scriptures that we're going over, all right? Because we're going to make sure to give you a good amount of scriptures today on everything that we're talking about. And we'll maybe pull up some articles if there's anything that comes up. I mean, there's so much going on. You turn on the news, you see nothing but negativity, especially in San Antonio. Good night. You turn on the news or you look at the news articles, you just type San Antonio. It's like this person got shot up. This person got killed over here. This guy stabbed this person's, grandmother. And it's just so much going on. It's like, you know what I'm saying? There's so much negativity around. I still haven't forgot about Kevin Johnson. You know what I'm talking about? Kevin Johnson, who got shot by the police just for stepping outside his house with a warrant. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't even take 20 steps out of your house to catch some fresh air without getting shot by the police in San Antonio. You understand? In San Antonio, you would normally think of as more of a quiet city. Well, it ain't quiet no more. And you know what it is? It's gone bad because of the lack of brotherhood. Because of the lack of brotherhood. Let me know where you got. Go ahead. We in St. John chapter 13, verse 34. Go ahead. Read it aloud for everybody so they can see it.
This is the book of St. John, chapter 13, verse 34.
Go ahead.
A new commandment I give unto you.
A new commandment I give unto you. This is an order. All right. This is for blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians. We're given an order right here. And this is something that we need to get right. If we can't get this right, we can't expect to say that we love the Most High. If we can't get this right, we can't say that you're a real Israelite. You understand? And especially those that are awakened, those that have some morality in them, to have some integrity in them, to want to be a better person, to be a better example for their families. It's important for us to take that step and to continue to follow what Christ's orders are. And this he said right here, read that from the top again.
This is the book of St. John, chapter 13, verse 34.
Mm-hmm.
A new commandment I give unto you.
Go ahead.
That ye love one another.
That you what?
That ye love one another.
That ye love one another. Go ahead.
As I have loved you.
As I have loved you. Meaning Christ had loved us so much that he gave his life for us. You understand how heavy that is? Because he didn't have to do that. Most brothers and sisters, what they do when they get a little comfortable in the world is they keep to themselves. They get a little bit ahead in life and they take care of themselves. They may look out for their family, but they're not looking at the man across the street. They're not taking a second look at the man that they passed by on the road. Christ did that for us. And you never even spoke to him face to face. You understand? And the Most High is giving you the order to do the same thing to those people that you come across in your everyday experience, in your everyday existence. You know what I mean? It could be something as simple as the people that you come across when you're at your slavery. You know what I mean? You might come across a black Hispanic man at your slavery, and instead of you bullying on them and picking on them, why don't you just show some discretion towards them? And understanding that though you may be going through things in your life, perhaps they could be going through something as well. You know what I'm saying? And to not be judgmental and to actually care about one another. We can't build a kingdom without caring for one another. And this is why Christ gave us this order. Read on.
To love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another.
Read on.
Verse 35. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples.
Let's say that again. Read that again.
By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples.
Go ahead.
If ye have love one to another.
So you know how you could tell the difference between a real Israelite group and a fake Israelite group? It's if you see the real brotherhood being developed in the school. When you look at the I.S.U.P.K. and you see the way the brothers take care of each other, the way brothers don't covet things that their other brothers have. You see that, and even if there are any kind of instances where people have the opportunity to slip up, it gets shut down because we're consistently going over scriptures like this so that we can remind ourselves how to operate. You understand? How not to be jealous, how not to be striveful, how not to be prideful. You understand? To not try to step on each other. And this is how you know that you are my disciples. Christ said, if ye have love one to another. And that love is on the foundation of keeping God's law. Precept. Well, what precept would that be?
Oh.
Go ahead.
That love one another, keep the law.
Yeah.
1 John 5:3.
Most High Christ. Give that man a hand. He already knows, like he knows exactly which one I'm thinking of. 1 John chapter 5, verse 3 says, and this is love, that you walk after these commandments, right? Was that 1 John 5 and 3?
That's 1 John 5:2, 5 and 3. This is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous.
Okay, Most High Christ. We can get that real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that. Hold where you're at though. That's fine. You can hold where you're at. You're on John chapter 13 and verse 35. Oh no, you good. If you're already right there, then just go ahead and get that, man, since you're right there.
5 and 3.
That's too wild. Go ahead.
This is the book of 1 John chapter 5, verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
For this is the love of God,
Mm-hmm.
that we keep his commandments.
That we what?
That we keep his commandments.
That we keep his commandments. Go ahead.
And his commandments are not grievous.
What was that verse again?
1 John chapter 5, verse 3.
Verse 3. Okay, it's locked in. All right. You know what? Start at verse 2.
1 John chapter 5, verse 2.
Go ahead.
By this we know that we love the children of God.
The who?
That we love the children of God.
The children of God. Who are the children of God? The children of God are those lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. Those chosen children of the Most High. Those are the ones that and this is the thing that you have to understand, is that in coming into the I.S.U.P.K, especially you men, young men, and of course older men and people that are coming in, this is what we do. We are becoming Christ's disciples, literally, on the earth. And that's a charge that doesn't, and they almost make it trivial in the Christian church because they see this as something that's unattainable for mankind, because they're always trying to throw excuses in there like, oh, we were born in sin. Oh, we were, everybody is a sinful person. We you know what I mean? Like, in the sense that they're looking at it with the glass half full or the glass half empty rather than the glass half full, meaning they're already going into it with a negative mindset because they're worried that, because they're worried that this is actually something that's showing that that they don't have the law on point. They haven't actually practiced the law long enough to be correct in their ways. You understand? And the Christian church is definitely, and I'm saying this just from experience, it's hypocritical for them to say that, because the Christian church does not know true love. How do you know? Because they don't talk about the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, but the U.P.K. does. And they don't talk about keeping all the law, statutes, and commandments, but the I.S.U.P.K. does. And in truthfully not being hypocritical, the Most High is going to work with those that are keeping his law, statutes, and commandments. And that's what we do in the school. What we do in this school is that we do things by the book and also by Christ's orders, because he said that we were supposed to love one another. And we're supposed to love one another by keeping the Most High's laws. Go back to verse 3. Mm-hmm.
Verse 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments.
Go ahead.
And his commandments are not grievous.
And his commandments are not what?
Grievous.
What does that mean? Grievous, meaning like a burden, like like you ever know when you were young and you had to go to the store to a place that your parents had to do to run some errands and you didn't want to go there because it was a boring place. Like when you were young, maybe for some folks, maybe going to Home Depot was grievous to you because you couldn't stand being in the store being bored because you didn't have no toys to play with and everything was too dangerous to touch and it all smelled like wood and you didn't like being there, right? Or maybe perhaps you had to go to the dentist office and wait 45 minutes to get called in just to have an x-ray done. And what happens when you go to the dentist office in most cases, especially blacks and Hispanics with our healthcare issues, right? We go and it's grievous. We don't like going to those places. You understand? Or having to go to school. When you wake up in the morning at 7:30 and you had to get ready for school every single day, and you probably didn't even have anything to eat for breakfast, and then you got to deal with the whole school day, and you're halfway tired most of the day, and you can't even pay attention in class. School became grievous. Well, the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments are not that. The Most High's law, statutes, and commandments are the complete opposite of that. You understand? So read that again from the top.
This is the book of 1 John, chapter 5, verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
By this we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and to keep his commandments.
Most High in Christ, yes. Nah, it's 12. I just fix it real quick. And that's why, okay, go ahead. Read the rest of that.
Verse 3. Verse 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous.
That's what I'm saying. So just like how you had to go to, like, you ever had to go with your parents, and we were just talking about this. It's lucky we have some folks coming in. Make sure you check into the chat, all right? And what we was talking about right here is the commandments not being grievous, because it shouldn't be a burden of you to pay your tithes. You should be glad to have the chance to pay your tithes. It shouldn't be a burden for you to not eat pork. You should be glad that you no longer have to deal with ever eating pork ever again. You understand? Because of the issues that it causes. You know what I mean? But because of Christianity, keeping God's commandments have become grievous. And that shows that Christians do not love God.
Right.
Because keeping God's commandments becomes so grievous to them that they choose not to do it. Or even worse, they come up with excuses to not do it and then show other people those same excuses to tell them to live the same way so that they are on the same level with them. You know what I'm saying? So that everybody stoops to the same low level and there's no progression in our communities because of that. Because we don't continue to strive to be better. It all starts because somebody was grievous about keeping God's law. Just like how when you were a little kid, you were grievous about having to go to Home Depot with your parents for them to take 5 hours to choose which paint they wanted to use for their house they were trying to build or for the kitchen they were trying to redo. And you was bored and you didn't want to be there, but you had to be there and it was grievous. Well, Christians look at keeping the law as something that's grievous. It's like you had something you want to say?
Yeah, and the heavy thing about it is they say that God is love, right? But that scripture right there says if you love God, you keep commandments.
Yeah.
What commandments are they keeping in the Christian church other than tithing? Because your pastor's a filthy, rotten thief, stealing from the community, making sure his pockets are full. He's a greedy dog. He doesn't know when to stop.
That's heavy right there, man. Yeah, that's exactly the point because and just touching on that exactly what he's saying when it comes to something like paying tithes, when you have the right mindset, then keeping God's commandments is so righteous that you understand why you do each one of these things. You wear fringes on your clothes because what? Because it looks good? Well, yeah, that too. But also because those fringes, each one of those fringes is to represent the laws in itself. And that being our culture makes you stand out. And I don't know about y'all, but growing up, I always wanted to kind of not fit in with everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Just wearing our culture makes you stand out from everybody else. That's something that's not grievous. Paying your tithes takes care of people that are in need. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times you ever go to the store and you trying to ring up your the whatever you choose at the register, and they tell you, hey, would you like to donate to this and this place, you know what I'm saying, like this cancer organization or whatnot, and in the back of your mind you're like, maybe, I don't know, maybe you might throw a little something, but it becomes grievous for most people to even consider giving extra money to somebody else. Having the tithes as a commandment makes it to where you become used to taking care of other people. So people that are following the tithes and the commandment like that already are building a practice of being brotherly for other people, to where when somebody needs a car to get somewhere, you'll let them borrow your car. You don't even care, you know what I'm saying, if they put gas in the tank or not. You know what I mean? Or if somebody left money on the table, you wouldn't even touch it, knowing that everybody around this area can trust each other because of the brotherhood in the area. And that's something that our people have been missing for a long time. For generations, we have been taking advantage of one another and not showing love. And it all comes back to the law, because the law is not something that we're supposed to think that we have to do and be like, I gotta go do this, I gotta go to Sabbath service. That's not the right mindset to have. You should be glad that you have the chance to be alive in a time where we can serve the Most High and come back to his law, statutes, and commandments to be a staple on the earth, an example of shining light for the world to see. You understand? This is what we're supposed to do. Go ahead, sir.
And you know what's heavy? Brother's bringing out very heavy. Because when I first came into the school, I was looking for them to prove me right about Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Well, somebody gonna steal something. Somebody gonna do this. Somebody gonna do that, right?
Yeah.
They proved me wrong here in this school. You know what I mean? I've seen brothers lose $2, and that $2 sit at the podium at a school in Houston. You know what I mean? A whole week. You know what I mean? $2 on the podium at the school for a whole week until somebody claimed that $2. Like, you know what I mean? At the Passover, brothers and sisters was losing keys, phones, wallets, and everybody got their possessions back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's how many times you went somewhere, lost your wallet, and you ain't gonna never find that wallet again because somebody that picked it up and walked off with it.
Right.
How many times you had your phone stolen in the world? How many times you dropped $1 out your pocket and never gonna see that dollar again because somebody behind you stepped on it and was like, They let you walk a couple more feet and bend down and pick up that money.
You're right, man.
But here in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, we have morals and we have integrity.
Yeah, damn right.
Because of those law, statutes, and commandments.
So you need a pen? Oh.
Because of those law, statutes, and commandments, that's what we have. We have integrity and we have morals.
No, he's saying something that's absolute. In fact, I remember during the Passover, I lost one of my war scarves, right? Didn't know where it went. And then, that was in Florida. That was in a whole different state. And then just like a week ago, it just appeared in front of me. And while I'm sitting in this very same chair, I'm like, how did it get from Florida to over here? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's because we looking out for one another. You know what I'm saying? What's that saying? It takes a village to raise a child. Right. That's something that we really had on point when we were trying to build communities when we first came over here to the Americas as Native Americans and indigenous peoples. We had tribes. We were much more tribal. Well, guess what? We should be more tribal. We should come back to those things because keeping the love of the Most High and keeping his commandments shows that because we're being more tribal for one another, it gives us the chance to really show the Most High that, yes, that we love him because we love one another. You understand? It's like, what was you going to say?
And Passover was what, two and a half months ago?
I was like 2 months. More than that, no?
You feel me? You lost something 2.5 months ago in another state, and it got back to you here at home.
I don't know how that happened.
I don't know how that happened either, but that's the brotherhood.
That's the level of brotherhood that we work with because we strive to show each other that we can continue to do better for one another. You know what I'm saying? That instead of us running into problems and eventually falling out and not communicating with each other, that's another thing too. with the law, also communication. The scripture says to communicate, forget not, for much sacrifice the Most High is well pleased. And in any relationship, be it a friendship, a marriage, you understand, a professional relationship, professional courtesy, and those things are all affected by our ability to communicate. And so we need to continue to communicate, to express the things that are going on. That's why social media is as large as it is, because social media is just an engine for people to communicate. And people are begging for a chance to communicate effectively with people. Well, in the I.S.U.P.K, we don't need Facebook to communicate effectively. We don't need Twitter and all these things to communicate effectively with one another. But a lot of people that are out in the world, they use those things. And those communication devices and tools and apps and websites, those are things that are better used in our schools so that we can communicate positivity, so we can communicate righteousness and keeping the Most High's laws. It's not something that you see out there in the world, because that's the very same Facebook page, that very same Facebook website that you use to spread these classes and to share, Hebrew Israelite memes and other Hebrew Israelite radio shows and powerful information. That's the same tool that somebody in the world will use to show their friends the new bag of weed that they just picked up. You know what I'm saying? The new, you know what I'm saying? Or that fight that happened at school. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be Facebook or TikTok or, all these other avenues, what are we using our communication for? Are we actually using it to keep the Most High's laws? And if we are we doing this in a way that is enthusiastic, or is it becoming grievous? And that's one thing that when the scripture says that he that endured to the end will be saved, comes to mind, because we got to continue to show that enthusiasm all the way through, rather than to go through the motions and treat this thing like it's just a phase. And that's why a lot of people that leave the truth don't understand that, because they did not build a foundation that prevented them from being grievous about keeping God's laws. You understand? And keeping that brotherhood. Go ahead, sir.
It's heavy that you bring up about communication, brother, because communicating is also with your brother and with your sister and with your husband and with your wife and with your kids.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? You know why so many relationships break up in the world? Anybody know?
Bad communication.
Exactly, bad communication.
That's
know why so many relationships just forever in the truth? Anybody know?
Good communication.
Because good communication. Because here you have to communicate with your significant other, right? Before they become your significant other. You have to have 6 months of communication before y'all do anything physical to make the relationship an actual what would you call it? Actual marriage.
You're absolutely right too, because the attraction between two people is like multiplied when the communication's good. Because if somebody texts you dry, you're not gonna want to like really like hang out with them, because it's like, they're boring to talk to. They can't keep a conversation. You know what I'm saying? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do that's gonna be like if you go to a date with somebody and y'all don't have a good flow with the conversation, you know what I'm saying? Then that down the line is gonna end up stale, because y'all don't know how to like give each other that energy that's sustainable. You know what I mean? And also keep in mind too that, of course, in our friendships and communications and unifications between one another, that communication is embedded in the law. And that makes it that much easier for people to be friendly in the truth rather than those that are in the world. Because you talk to most of, whether it's men or women in the world, they don't even have much friends. They might have like the same 2 friends that they've known for years, or no friends at all. When the I.S.U.P.K, it's like we're a family, and we are coming from all 4 corners of the earth. To where a brother from California and somebody from New York can get together and have the same exact mindset. You know what I'm saying? That's something that's spiritual. That's something that's amazing, actually. I mean, you know what I mean? And anybody can attest to that with any of their experiences with what they come across when, hanging out and being around us here. Or at feast days and events like that. where it's not all about themselves. It's about their camaraderie with their brethren and their sistren. All right. So with that, let me get you can go ahead and was there more on that?
Can I say one more thing?
Con, sir, go ahead.
So in communication, right? You know, community is a root word in communication, like commune. You know what I mean? So if Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans want a good community, we have to communicate with each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of brotherhood.
Right.
That's brotherhood right there.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to bring that at a heavy point.
Nah, ain't nothing wrong with that. And was it Brenda in the chat? Yeah, she said spending quality time together. You know what I'm saying? Quality time together. Yeah, I see. Okay, yeah, go ahead and check in. That's what's up. Brenda Betts. Shout out to Brenda Betts in the chat. And everybody else in the chat, we got Sister Mariam who checked in online, but she's actually right here in the class too. And Sister Vanessa. Okay. All right. How'd the move go? Was it all right? Was everything too wild with that? All right, most high Christ. Let me get Matthew chapter 5, verse 22. Matthew chapter 5, verse 22. Definitely gotta stop by this one real quick. Let's see here.
So Brenda said she's checking in.
She's saying con, but
but she's trying to check in.
I don't know. Yeah, verse 22.
I don't know if she's contacted Officer Dawg. Just put her name down.
Brent? Is it the Brent girl? I know who it was.
And put the number in the chat.
Let me put this full screen here in a second. All right. If you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat. All right. We're always welcoming questions. This isn't the Christian church where you just have to stay quiet as a mouse the whole time. You understand? This school promotes people that are open-minded. In fact, when you come into the school, you should be skeptical about the school. People try to say things about us like we got, you know what I'm saying, that we're too aggressive or that we're too mean and that, you know, that the Israelite movement is a cult and things like that. But understand that it's not a cult, it's a culture. It's just a culture shock for most people when they see it for the first time, that they should be asking questions, because without certain questions being asked, then we can't communicate with you the way that we need to. You understand? We just got through talking about how important communication is. And that chat board right there is for us to communicate. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely want to stick with that. However, whenever you need anything answered. All right. Matthew chapter 5, verse 22.
Put the number in the chat.
No, it's like it, sir. Go ahead and read Matthew chapter 5, verse 22.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 22. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother,
whosoever is what?
Angry with his brother.
Read on.
Without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment.
Danger of the what?
Danger of the judgment.
Danger of the judgment. Read on.
And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raka, shall be in danger of the council.
Mm-hmm. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raka, which is a phrase that is a phrase that means what was it? What's the definition of that again? There's a definition
Raka
of
is
it.
like saying like you fool. Like
yeah, kind of like a disagreeing. Like it's kind of like
it's calling them like a fool.
Yeah. Somebody that's real anti. You ever just know somebody that always has to go against everybody for every little thing? Somebody that's always trying to correct people, that says that thinks that they're high and mighty. That type of mentality is prideful. And that type of mentality is in somebody that's not open-minded enough to learn the truth because they think they know everything. And that's the type of person that'll say that somebody else is a fool. They'll be in danger of judgment. You understand? Especially those that do these things without any reasonable cause. There's people that are just like that. There's people that are just, what's the word? Confrontational for no reason.
Ignorant.
Right. There's a time and place for everything under the sun. But to just be that way all the time is foolish, man. It's definitely foolish. But read on.
But whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire.
Shall be in danger of hellfire. You understand? How much pain and suffering do we got to go to before we get right with one another? You know what I'm saying? How much pain and suffering do we have to deal with? If there's somebody that's, and I use this example because this is so common. It's ridiculous how common this is. When you stop smoking weed and you stop popping pills and you stop, you know what I'm saying, just living that lifestyle of just being a sloth, being slobby, and just doing whatever it takes to stay high all the time because you can't stay sober minded for 10 seconds. You can't go out of your house without being high. You know what I'm saying? That mentality puts all of these types of spirits in you to the where you're going to end up acting this way towards your own people. That's why drug dealers are violent people. That's why people that, you know what I'm saying? That's why you're always seeing cats that when there's drugs involved, there's violence involved a lot of the time. You ever go to a party where there was a lot of drugs involved? What ends up happening? A fight breaks out. Cops get called. Everybody has to go and jump the fence in the back and escape because, you know what I mean? And it just gets crazy. It gets crazy because everybody there knows they shouldn't be doing the things that they're doing there. And that at least Israel has some type of shame left in their minds to know that something ain't right being in that type of environment. But they have no shelter to go to. They have no place to go to that's safe from that because their minds have been twisted to think that you're not cool unless you're living like that. And that's wicked, man. And that's not like Christ. And though they go to church and think that they can continue to live the way that they are, they're going to find out that there's a realer place on this earth, a safer sanctuary for them that can allow a black man and a Hispanic man to be black and Hispanic the way they're supposed to be without the wickedness. All the flavor that we are, but none of the wickedness that we see that gets spread as our depiction across this earth. Because that's something that they've always done. They've always tried to make it seem like we're the kind of people that are just so anti. That's why everything that they bring up on the news, whether it's the cop shooting a black man or a Hispanic man, the very first thing they do is what? They try to bring up his record. They try to bring up his past and some of the things that he's done that puts him in that same exact category as these people right here. These people that are dangerous. These people that are prone to making mistakes. So the sentiment behind us is that we're the kind of people that have no value. And we, in response to that, become a people in danger of the hellfire. Go ahead.
Which one?
No, you had your hand raised.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say it's just so heavy that you bring out about the violence because you know who's the most violent people ever? The LGBT community. TQ, ZX, I don't know, X, what LMLP, all the letters. You know what I mean? They're just so violent, and the reason why they're so violent is because they're going against the Lord. They're going against the Lord. So that's the reason why they're violent. They're always on drugs, right? You ever seen a sober gay person? A sober homosexual? You've never seen a sober homosexual. You always seen a homosexual on drugs, partying at raves and on ecstasy pills and Percocets and smoking weed and smoking cigarettes and being drunk and being disorderly.
High anxiety levels.
They do. I believe
that's heavy. What she's saying right there, that's so true. Because and a lot of times it's because of trauma that's happened in their life, being around a lot of other people that are like that. You understand? And it makes them that way. Because that's kind of what goes back to what I'm saying about communication, because you're either communicating positivity to people around you or you're communicating that negativity, and it builds on itself to now you have, like you just said, violence in communities like Uvalde, Texas, where you had that young man that was confused who came out. I believe he was a homosexual, right?
Yep.
A cross-dresser.
Yep.
And
Get up, brother, him for bringing that out.
Cross-dresser.
Right.
We just talked about this yesterday when we said that. How do you know we're in hell? Because you have homosexuals that kill babies. Like that sounds like something that would be on the worst nightmarish movie that you could imagine, right? You know what I mean? Like you know what I'm saying? Like, what's that movie that just came out? The Jordan Peele just dropped? Nope. You know what I'm talking about? It's some scary movie that came out. You know what I mean? Or there's this one called Mad God that just came out. It's about to be on streaming services where it's just the most gross, terrible, hellish environment, like where everything looks like a hellscape. That's the mentality of people that smoke weed. That they want to live in darkness like that to the point where they just dive straight into it. They just engulf themselves in it. You know what I'm saying? And before you know it, you have some really messed up things going on this planet. I actually wanted to bring this out because what you said about the most violent people on the earth being homosexual is completely true. Look at this right here. I got this article right here. I'm just gonna show the title on the screen real quick. Give me 1 second. You gotta see this. So let me get Revelation chapter 2 verse 9 real quick. I gotta do this, man. Listen.
So like, are you talking about the biggest homosexual gay pride parade being in?
Yes. I just got this article right here. Look at this.
I know.
This article right here is talking about the pride parade in Jerusalem. Okay.
It's the biggest gay pride parade in the world.
Look at this right here. Y'all seeing this? Look at this. I'm gonna put it full screen so y'all can see what we're looking at here. When you're talking about the most violent people on earth, you're talking about the people in Revelation chapter 2 and verse 9, where the second half of the precept talks about them. Read that. What's up?
I was going to say, Sister Brenda said that, right? They think that they're better than everyone else.
Exactly. The same people that have the mentality that they're always right, that mentality comes from these people right here. Okay? Read what you have right there. Do you in Revelation chapter 2, verse 9? We're just going to get this real quick. Go ahead and read that real quick.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 9.
Go ahead.
I know thy works and tribulation and poverty.
And what?
And poverty.
And tribulation and poverty. Go ahead.
But thou art rich.
But thou art rich. Read on.
And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not.
Which what?
And are like which say they are Jews and are not.
No, start out. Read a little bit further before that. And I know the what?
And I know the blasphemy.
The what?
The blasphemy.
The what?
The blasphemy.
Look at this right here. This is blasphemy right here. Read on.
Of them which say they are Jews and are not.
And are not.
But are the synagogue of Satan.
That are the synagogue of what?
Satan.
The synagogue of Satan. The most. You know what's crazy is that in the land of Israel, the Israeli state right now has one of the most capable militaries on earth because they, of course, are supported by the United States. But this very same country that's in the Holy Land has over 170,000 Israelis marching in Tel Aviv for the 2022 Pride Parade, which is to take place, I believe it's going on right now in our land. And it's blasphemy. And the Most High knows that they are from the synagogue of Satan. You understand? And this is what's important here is that we need to communicate the truth to each other. We need to communicate righteousness to each other. It's hate speech when you tell a black or Hispanic man that it's okay to be gay. It's hateful content that should be banned from the planet when you go to Netflix and every show that has black people in it has a homosexual in it. It's hate speech. Why? Because I bet you anything, the people that watch those shows and the people that act in those shows are going to end up being violent, just like these people end up violent. How do you know that they're violent? Ask the Palestinians. They'll tell you. Ask the Iranians. They'll tell you. You understand? You know what I'm saying? Ask anybody that's around them that tries to say that they're not the Jews, and they'll tell you. They'll tell you that these people here that pretend that they're God's chosen people blatantly blaspheme the Most High by doing things like this and pushing this mentality and lifestyle across the planet Earth because they're promoting violence across the planet Earth. They're promoting destruction on the earth. They promote death on the earth. Because the scripture says the wages of sin is death, is it not? And love is keeping God's commandments. And God's commandment says that man is not supposed to be sleeping with man. And women are not supposed to be sleeping with women. But because you want to wear this flag with the red, orange, green, purple, blue, and yellow, and you think that that's supposed to mean pride, the scripture says pride comes before destruction. And there's a lot of pride amongst those people right there. But one other thing that the scripture says is what? That ye are of your father the devil, and the sins of him ye shall do. And the thing is, our people have been bamboozled into being the way that they are. Let them have their culture. We talked about yesterday how about the Romans were the ones that really pushed that homosexual agenda, that pushed that wicked kingdom on the earth. Let them keep with their culture. And you can't get mad when you see a white reggae band win artist of the year and try to say, oh, they culture appropriating, it's stealing our culture. Meanwhile, you celebrate Christmas. Meanwhile, you celebrate the LGBT community. Meanwhile, you celebrate violence and destruction amongst your people, because you need to understand the truth. Because if you're not hearing the truth, that means that people around you aren't communicating the truth to you, which means they don't know how to love you. And so you can't be confused when relationships don't work out. You can't be surprised when people fail you in your lifetime, because they do not have brotherhood, because their life is not surrounded in given the foundation that's rooted in the truth and in the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments. This is either going to go one way or the other. And with wickedness, you're seeing the world turn into chaos right now. So, like, what's going on, sir? What you got for me?
Oh, you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta tell me.
My bad.
So,
Go ahead.
So over there in Israel, right, they have a thing called a moil, right?
That sounds weird. What the heck is a moil?
You got that? You got that definition for me? Go ahead.
The definition of moil: a person who performs ritual Jewish circumcision.
What circumcision?
Man, I think I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
That's not. They don't say how they perform the moil.
It says moil is a Catholic surname that derived from moil, meaning bald. That's what it says.
All right, whatever. Well, the moil is, in circumcision, you circumcise the boys when they're 8 days old.
Right.
Well, in the Jewish faith, whatever they believe in, they have a moil, which is 8 days old. They have a circumcision, and then they suck the penis of the male child to get the foreskin off of the penis. So
that's gross, man.
It's very gross. It's very gross. But of course, they would have the biggest homosexuality gay pride parade, because they're starting these children out from the birth, from 8 days old, to be homosexuals.
They can't hide who they are. They're always going to show their true colors, and that color is red. You know, feel me? Like now it's all these colors, but you see what I'm saying? Like, they always going to show their true colors. You talking about how they do that? I remember I told that to my dad. I'm like, Jewish people, they suck baby penises. And he was like, how could you say something like that? That's disgusting. And then he went and researched it, and he came back to me later on. He was like, I gotta apologize to you, because he found out that they do that. And I'm like, see, I told you. Revelation 2:9. Read that again.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 9.
Uh-huh.
I know thy works.
I know that works.
And tribulation.
And the trouble that we deal with, right?
And
poverty, because all the poor, we're the ones in the ghettos and the barrios. We're the ones that are looked at as the unwise on the earth. That we're the ones that are overlooked all the time, because they say that we're the criminals. Meanwhile, they are criminals to the Most High. And their influence on us has bled into our communities, and that must be stopped. Because if it doesn't, then we won't live long on this earth, and we won't have thriving communities, and we'll end up falling apart, just like their kingdom starts to fall apart. That's why the scripture says, come out of her, my people, that you not partake in her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. Because you're going to see that these same people in this pride parade, there's going to be a monkeypox outbreak in the land of Israel, in the land of the Israeli state. You understand? There's going to be monkeypox running rampant with those 170,000 people doing God knows what over there in our land right now. The Most High is not going to stand for that forever. but it's up to us to get right so that we can get our land back, because it's not going to have no gay parades in the kingdom. You best believe that. There ain't going to be no homosexuals shooting up baby schools and stuff like that. That's not going to exist. Those nightmares will no longer exist. So you could be rest assured that the I.S.U.P.K under Commanding General Yohana is raising up righteous men and men that are stand bold in front of the other nations and tell them and rebuke them, because the time's coming where righteous men are going to be looked at on this earth as the source for wisdom. And right now, it's not the case, but it's going to get there someday. Go ahead. Read on. And poverty, go ahead.
And poverty,
Mhm.
but thou art rich.
But thou art rich because your heritage comes from a lineage of princes and priests and kings. You come from a lineage of royalty. You know what I'm saying? Like King David told Goliath, he said, "Thou comest to me with a shield, but I come to me. I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel." You know what I'm saying? Our heritage is rich. Read on.
And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not.
And are not. And that's what you see right here. How much more proof do you need? How much more proof do you need when you see that? Read on.
But are the synagogue of Satan.
I don't have to explain that in further detail. You should know that that's a very deceptive mentality for these people to try to claim that they're the Jews. You know what I'm saying? That's why when Nick Cannon said there's something about him being a Jew, they shut down his broadcast station. Every football player or news personality that mentions anything about being a Jew or a real Israelite or saying that Israelites are blacks and Hispanics, they get shut down. And then they have to get sensitivity training or some random stuff. You know what I'm saying?
If I can.
Kind of, sir. Please.
Read that one more time. Now it's just now we're just gonna nail the point home. You right? Because this cannot be talking about the so-called Jewish men right now. Right? Read that one more time. Read it.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 9.
Right.
I know thy works.
Right. He knows how much the black man, Hispanic man, Native American man works.
That's right.
Nobody works like us. Nobody works 18-hour days and then still can't afford to pay their rent. 18-hour days, and when they need surgeries or something, they still can't afford their surgery.
Right.
Nobody works as hard as we do. Keep going.
And tribulation.
And tribulations. Nobody goes through the problems that we go through. Your wife leaving you, your husband leaving you, kids leaving you, becoming homosexuals, murders, rapists, raping. Nobody goes through the tribulations that we go through, the problems that we go through. Go ahead.
And poverty.
And the poverty. Nobody's poorer than Black, Hispanic, and Native American people. Nobody's poorer than us. We live in the ghettos, the barrios, the reservations, right? We're the only one that don't have an army to fight for us, right? Nobody says anything for us at the UN. We don't get hate crime bills made in our favor.
Good night.
Nothing happened. We are in poverty. Keep going. Oh, what's up? What's up?
So we're in the dust.
Yeah, we're in the dust.
There you go.
We're at the bottom. Keep going.
But thou art rich.
But thou art rich. Now, can I ask y'all a question? Right. So when Nick Cannon said that the real Jews are black, right? They was able to take him off the air. How were they able to take him off the air?
Isn't that the show? They're the rich.
Because they're rich. Because they're not in poverty. They don't work hard. They don't have no tribulation. They own the Diamond District. They own the TV. They own entertainment. They own everything.
Music industry.
You feel me? They have their own communities where the police they have their own police officers. Right? But it says we're rich because the kingdom of heaven belongs to Black, Hispanics, Native Americans. Right. And nobody else. We have that rich history of the Bible that everybody wants to be and everybody tries to steal and take pieces from and to be in their own culture. Keep reading. And the blasphemies?
And I know the blasphemies of them which say they are Jews.
Right. The blasphemy of them that say they are Jews. They said they're Jewish people, right? That's what they say. They said it's a blasphemy. They said they are Jews, right? We call ourselves Israelites here in the Israelite School of Universal Practice.
Right.
Because we know a Jew is a tribe, and we have brothers. They don't know where their brothers are. You ask a Jewish person where his brother, where are the rest of the tribes of Israel? I don't know. That's us. You know what I mean? They don't know what tribe they come from. Ayala, what tribe you come from?
Zebulon, sir.
What tribe you come from, young man? What about you, sis? I'm trying to tell you. I'm a Jew. You feel me? We got what 3 of the 12 tribes in class right now. Right now. But
going through the same atrocities.
Right, going through the same thing, the same atrocities. Now, where's the Jewish man's brothers? He doesn't know.
You don't know because he don't communicate.
Right. Because he's not the real Jew.
Yeah, right.
He's not. He's a liar. He's the blasphemies. And just finish it off, and I'm done.
What's up, man?
I was gonna say. Plus, it says we've been spread out all around the world, and they're just over there in Israel.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
And it says that we go through the,
they converted and
all the curses. And
that's a precept. But Baruch,
what?
One where it says that we are but small among the heathen, with despised among the heathen, or something like that. But we can get that later.
Oh, they say the dead Israelites.
No, it's a chapter after that. Slocky, go ahead and finish that real quick. I just want to get to this real quick because this article is just crazy.
I can't read.
You'll be all right, man. Just a little bit longer, man. Just endure to the end. You feel me? Like, hey, big up to Officer Kabar for holding it down. You know what I'm talking about? We're going to take care of this brother soon enough. On God, we're going to get you some new eyes. No, it's like,
Real talk.
Blasphemy of them that say they are Jews. Go ahead.
But are the synagogue of Satan.
They are the what?
Synagogue of Satan.
They are the synagogue, meaning the place of worship of a deception, right? The chief house of lies. This is the reason why there's never been any peace in the Middle East. Because even the president of Iran said, how do you leave black but come back white? You understand? It's like, go ahead, sis.
So like it's what you were saying earlier when they performed the circumcision,
Mm-hmm.
and they've even come out to say that babies have contracted herpes.
Wow.
behind
Good
that.
night. Now you talking about violence. That's crazy.
I remember that article.
And not even to mention, yes, I remember that article too. That's a real heavy point because that's something that's permanent. That's a permanent scar. That's a permanent scar. That was actually when that article came out. That's when I was talking to my pops about it, and I told him that babies are catching HIV because they're doing it, and he was like, "There's no way," blah blah blah. And I have friends that are Jewish and blah blah blah. And I'm like, talk to them about it. They'll tell you. I don't know if they do that, but that's how they do it over there. And now we're seeing this right here. Now,
so sisters, stay away from those Jewish brothers, those Jewish men.
And please,
those Jewish
and Baba Kusha sisters, stop pushing, stop having a homosexual best friend. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? And another thing I see too is I see a lot of these young women that are out in the they out at the club, right? They out at the club dancing on each other and licking up on each other and kissing each other just to entice whoever their followers are. I don't know what they're doing. It's crazy out there. But that mentality leads to violence, man. That same mentality that you have right there is the reason why you end up stabbing your baby daddy. You know what I'm saying? Because you tired of him, because you just have that violent spirit in you. It comes from and derives from this LGBT mentality that, guess what? The synagogue of Satan heads that mentality. They spread that. And brothers and sisters definitely need to call the number that's posted in the chat. Those that are in San Antonio, Texas, or in the surrounding areas, to call the camp leader of San Antonio to get in, get more involved with the school, because we're actually looking out for your soul. We're looking out to make sure that you're safe in these times, so that we're looking to make sure that your children aren't the next mass shooting, and that your children aren't contracting HIVs. You know what I'm saying? things that are irreversible, you know, and that's the thing that we got to keep in mind, because it's about life and death. And I think that at the end of the day, when you're starting to go through trouble and tribulation in your health, or just the pain and of life in general, you're going to want to try to stay alive. How many times have you ever had a near-death experience, whether it be in a car accident or a bad health scare or something like that, and you like, man, I'll do whatever it takes to be good. Don't wait for your life to be hanging by the thread for you to say something like that. You should have the enthusiasm to want to prevent those things from ever happening. You know what I mean? That's why, you know, when you're taking care of anything, you have to take it with that approach. If you have a car that you just drive until the wheels and fall off, and you never change the brakes and rotors, and it's all falling apart, you didn't prepare anything for that car to last the long life. You understand? And a lot of times our people just do the same thing with their bodies, doing whatever they want, whenever they want, no discipline, no diet scheduling, you know what I'm saying? And before you know it, we got all kinds of health issues trying to figure out how to come back to God. You could have just started off on the right foot. You feel me? And this is a very important thing to keep in mind, because when it comes to taking care of your body, you do not want to be in a community like this that is prone to violence and death and destruction and plagues from the Most High. This article right here says I'm just gonna read this real quick because I want to get give me Salakia, Kendall, get this scripture ready for me. Give me Proverbs chapter 11 verse 21. It says over 170,000 Israelis march in Tel Aviv 2022 Pride Parade. We just read in the book of Revelation that the fake Jews are the synagogue of Satan. And you can be rest assured that God does not want, you know, gay parades on his land and homosexuality taking place on his land, on the land that he set aside as an inheritance for the nation of Israel. It says right here, Pride Parade kicked off with a bang on Friday with hundreds of thousands in attendance, donned in rainbows and glitter. I mean, even when it comes to craft materials, glitter is like the herpes of craft materials, because once you get it on you, you can't even get it off you. You know, you end up having to take 20 showers just to get the glitter off you. So not only are they like that on the inside, they like that on the outside too with the glitter. You know what I'm saying? Yes, glitter is the herpes of craft supplies, so it kind of makes sense that they rock that in places like this. It says several warnings were issued prior to the event as the heat in Tel Aviv reached new heights, with serious concern that attendees would overheat or become dehydrated. Nevertheless, some 170,000, you know how many people that is? That's a lot, bro. You go to like a stadium. How many people are in a stadium at a football game, at a basketball game? It's like maybe 10,000.
And a what?
At like a basketball game or something like that. More than 10,000. Well, heck, even if it's like 20 or 30,000, imagine like 5 of those, and that's how many people are outside in this 100-degree weather just because of the pride that they have. Right? It says, nevertheless, some, huh?
So gay.
I'm come from the 90s, right? And in the 90s, we used to say things like, bro, that's gay. Don't be saying things like that. It was a common everyday phrase. Now you get canceled if you say something like that. I say something like that on Twitter, right? And then I get all flagged and what do you call it? Canceled by the people that get offended by it. It says, nevertheless, some 170,000 in attendance dressed to impress, with drag queens as tall as the heavens. Why would they say that? That's vile and just disgusting.
Can I say something?
Drag queens as tall as the heavens?
Can I say something?
That goes right with that blasphemy we're talking about, right?
But they say that because the drag queens are tall. They're tall like men.
God dang.
They're tall like men.
They're huge. You're 6'6".
Whoa, did you want to say something? Man, listen.
You was in Austin? Hey, that's where they at.
Shout out to I.S.U.P.K. Atlanta. Y'all brothers got y'all work cut out for you. You feel me? Like and I.S.U.P.K. California, y'all too. San Diego, whoever's out there, you know what I'm saying? Y'all got a lot of work to do. But in Texas for the longest time, Austin, yeah,
Austin got a lot
San Antonio, I'm seeing it creeping in. You didn't see it that much back in the day, but now even San Antonio has a lot of that going on. There's even like clubs that are just strictly for that type of crowd. You know what I'm saying? I stay far away from there, else you're gonna catch monkeypox or something. You know what I mean? It says with drag queens as tall as the heavens. That's just like they provoking the Most High, left and right, and proud couples marching hand in hand. Okay, now I want that scripture. Proverbs chapter. Oh, sorry, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Just real quick, a few years ago, there was somebody that went into a gay club and shot it up. Back in,
I remember we covered that too.
In Orlando.
Orlando, right?
Yeah, in Orlando.
Yep. Yeah. Give her a hand. I mean, another example, right? That was what was the nightclub? Because I remember it was hashtag all over. It was like the
I forgot, but it was a gay club.
It was a nightclub, and I remember it got shot up by somebody that I don't even know what they were tripping for, but it was another person from the LGBT community that was taking out their anger on all the other LGBT prone to violence. Now I remember not too long ago there was one of these parades that took place in Jerusalem, and then there was like a really bad earthquake, and I think they even had some of those people died in the earthquake. Yeah, while it was going on. But they're so prideful that they back out there with 170,000 people. Well, I don't know how long this is going on, but they better be careful. I pray to God ain't no Black and Hispanic and Native American people out there. I would stay far away from it for another earthquake come through.
But you know it is because we follow our oppressor so much. We rather follow our oppressor and follow our God.
Yes.
But we get killed because we're not supposed to follow that way.
Yeah, and that's another real heavy point. That goes right along with the scriptures as well. And you only have I known out of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for your iniquities. Right? That's why the Most High is not playing games with us. They plastered this all over the news, especially this month. This is Pride Month, right? That meme that I posted on Facebook was real. The girl told me she was pansexual. I didn't even know what that meant. I was like, "Oh, you like to cook?" And she was like, "Huh?" I was like, "What do you mean?" Like, I thought you I know what that meant. It's like a million different versions of gay, I guess. I don't know. Pansexual. I just thought you like pans or something, Salakia. Let me stay on track here.
It's Pride Month?
Right now, yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Yeah, so
that makes sense.
This is why I'm talking about it, because it's what's going on. You got parades going on. You got, circumcisions going on. God knows where. I mean, it's just getting out of hand. That's why you seeing like that right there is a big chunk of 1 million people, right?
I wonder if the Christian church is celebrating that. Is keeping that.
Christian church. Pulse nightclub. Throughout a priest. Yes. Pulse nightclub. How can we forget? Because I remember even Commander General Yohana was bringing that out real heavy when that was going on. Yeah, after that happened. You got that scripture for me? Proverbs 11, verse 21. I'm gonna read this again. It says, with drag queens as tall as the heavens, left and right, and proud couples marching hand in hand. Read that again. Read that.
Proverbs chapter 11, verse 21.
Go ahead.
Though hand joined in hand.
The what?
Though hand joined in hand.
Go ahead.
The wicked shall not be unpunished.
The what?
The wicked shall not be unpunished.
And then what you need to understand is that, yes, the Most High is biding his time with these nations that have been influencing us to be like them. Though hand joined in hand, it just got through saying that you had proud couples marching hand in hand. But the wicked will be punished at some point. It says they will not go unpunished. But read on. That's just wild, bro. It says you can't break love or something like that. That's crazy. I've seen enough of this. It's just too much at this point. But yo, finish that scripture though.
But the seed of the righteousness shall be delivered.
But the seed of the righteousness shall be delivered. And that's why we have to come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, because love is not a man putting his rod in the back of another man. Love is not two women rubbing their chests together. That's not love. That's not even marriage. That's gross, man. That's when I was about to say that, but I don't want to say that. It's all, that's the thing though, is that it becomes trivial because of the society that we're in, especially because of the influence that our people have been exposed to from pornographic, movies and cinemas, and even in that sense. And then, of course, in the hardcore senses, which is like 90% of the internet, right? So, like, it's everywhere that you look. And so you're constantly bombarded with imagery that pushes their lifestyle. So the fight is you not even looking at it. A lot of times our people are just, you can't even go through a regular website without some random stuff popping up on your screen, or you checking your email and you see this random thing about hot Asian babes in your area that want to see what's up with you. You know what I mean? Like it's all over the place. Every turn you take, there's temptation. That's why we got to pray at the end of class every single day that we don't fall into temptation, because we already know the second we walk out this door, some ads gonna pop up trying to show something to you, so something strange for some change. You know what I mean? And we got to stay away from all those influences, because all of that leads to death and violence. And what you see over there in the land of Jerusalem today, that's not of God. That's not of God, but he is not going to put up with that forever. All right. Go ahead and drop that. Let me get Proverbs chapter 27 and verse 17. All right. Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17. Let me get it on the screen here for y'all that are in the chat and everything. Proverbs 27 and 17. Yeah, most I ain't crying.
Right. See, I'd rather her be here than at an elementary school.
Right. Right. Good night, yo. Most I ain't crying. Brother, Officer Sapar in the chat said, "Is wild. I just seen a sister walking to a park with two young brothers with that pride flag." You know what I mean? That's the gang right there. You don't need to be worried about Crips and Bloods right now. You need to be worried about the Rainbow Gang. The Rainbow Gang running 170,000 deep over there in Jerusalem.
That's why all the brothers need to be in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Them boys got nukes too. Them Jews, fake Jews, them Jewish folks, they got nukes. They don't need no AR-15. They got a nuke. If you talk down on they gainers, go ahead.
This is the book of Proverbs chapter 11, right?
No, Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17. Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17. I have it on the screen here. Y'all seen it in the chat? Yeah, I see that, bro. That's crazy, man. I'm gonna post that up here. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
This is the book of Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17.
Mm-hmm.
Iron sharpeneth iron.
It says what?
Iron sharpeneth iron.
Go ahead.
So a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend.
So what?
So a man sharpeneth the consciousness of his friend.
The countenance of his friend, like the way that your face is structured. You know what I'm saying? You could tell the difference between somebody that's confident versus somebody that's nervous or scared. And so when iron sharpeneth iron, it's comparing two people. It's comparing two brothers. You know what I'm saying? This is a brotherhood class overall, and I want to make sure that we get to the point with that and really hit that home, because another thing too is the brothers. There's brothers in the world that need the I.S.U.P.K. because their countenance right now is flamboyant and feminine, and they need to be sharpened up. They need to be straightened up because they're wearing too much skinny jeans, and it's causing the it's causing the blood circulation in their body to stop working right. You know what I mean? and it makes them walk weird. You know what I mean? You gotta understand iron sharpening iron. Hey man, put on some fringes, man. Stop wearing them skinny jeans. Put these black boots on. Come to camp so you can listen to real men speak. And guess what? You going to camp now. You're starting to be sharpened because you're starting to be around a community of people that are more austere, the people that don't give in to lust, the people that don't fall for the influences of the other nations. That ultimately leads to what? Leads to our people walking to the park with flags in their hands with all the colors of the rainbow. You know what I mean? The rainbow itself was something that was to represent the Most High's mercy on the planet after he flooded the earth. We read about that in the Sabbath service just last weekend. The rainbow is not supposed to represent men sleeping with other men and women sleeping with other women. It's supposed to represent the Most High showing mercy on the world, saying he wasn't going to flood it no more. Don't make him regret that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, yes, it says iron sharpeneth iron. So a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. We need to make sure that, that we can't sharpen each other if we're not around each other. We can't sharpen each other if we're not communicating with one another. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why it's important for people to be in class, because when you tune into the class, it gives the iron a chance to sharpen the iron. You know what I'm saying? It gives you a chance to continue to sharpen your sword, to sharpen your mind, because we consistently get bombarded with imagery from other things the second that we're not in class. You know what I'm saying? The second you're not in class, the second your head is not in the book of the scriptures, then that's when the other influences have their chance to run rampant on you, and you got to be sharp. You got to be ready for it. That's why brotherhood is so important. We say brotherhood is a weapon because it literally is the sharpening of our minds when we're around each other. And the more that we're around each other, the better chance you'll have of standing when you're not around somebody that has your back. There's been times where I might be, seeing something, and I just have the thought of General Muhammad in the back of my head saying, "Don't do that, man. Don't look at that, man." Like he's checking me. General Muhammad has checked me 1,000 times, and he's never had to check me once. You know what I'm saying? Like in person, because that iron sharpened iron. That's a sharp piece of iron there, because he's been preparing to be a good influence to his brothers for a long time. And the thing is that it runs off. And what's that saying go? It says it rubs off on you, where you basically pick up the habits of the people around you. You know what I'm saying? It takes a village to raise a child is a similar term. You know what I mean? And so the more that you start to find yourself amongst like-minded men and women, then you'll start to find out that this brotherhood is inseparable. And in doing so, iron sharpens iron. Go ahead and drop that. Let me get Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verse 18. I'm going to get it on the screen here as well. Ecclesiastes chapter 9 verse 18. That's in the New Testament. It's like, yeah. 9 and 18. Brotherhood really is a weapon, man. And I know that when it comes to weaponry, a lot of brothers in the world, they like talking about things like guns and, all that stuff. But our enemies use those same things to kill us in the stores. We are given order by Commander General Yohana to stand down and not rise up and try to start stuff the way that, failed movements in the past have tried, where they try to say justice or else, right? Where they try to, start a violent uprising. That's not for us to do, because the Most High has given us something much stronger than actually using their weapons and tactics on them. Of course, in Texas, it's perfectly lawful for you to have a firearm and things like that. And I get that, and I understand that. But we need to understand what the real weapon is that we carry when we are in this truth. Because when the more that we're around each other, the more that weapon gets sharpened. That weapon is wisdom. Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 18. Go ahead and read that whenever you get the chance, man. In doing so and coming to the school, of course, learning the scriptures is very important. Learning the law, statute, commandments is very important, because what it really does is not only does it give you the chance to be obedient to the Most High, it builds on wisdom. And wisdom is what? Read that. Go ahead.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, verse 17.
Verse 18.
Verse 18.
Mm-hmm.
Wisdom is better than weapons of war.
Wisdom is what?
Wisdom is better than weapons of war.
I love that scripture right there. Wisdom is better than weapons of war. Go ahead.
But one sinner destroyeth much good.
Wisdom is better than an AR-15. That, like, you seen what that white boy used to shoot up that grocery store at Tops? You seen that AR-15 that created that devastation that shook the entire country in Uvalde, Texas? Don't you want to do something about that? No, you don't want to. Your job is, you're not supposed to pick up an AR and go shoot those people that cause these things, those people that influence these things. You have something much more powerful than that. Wisdom is more powerful than an atom bomb. Wisdom is more powerful than a bazooka, a javelin missile, an F-22, Raptor, fighter jet. Those of you that just seen that new Top Gun movie, is more powerful than the F-18 Hornet. You know what I'm saying? Because these things will change the whole entire planet. People don't understand because they don't have faith. They don't, and because it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, because we think of the laws as grievous, you'll never understand just how powerful these law, statute, commandments really are. You'll never understand just how powerful brotherhood is, because this type of wisdom that comes from us communicating one another and coming together in unity, it's so powerful that it causes us to how do I say it? It causes us to create make miracles possible, to where no man would be able to get through something that, such as a heart attack, and push forward. We'll do it. We'll do it because of the ambition that wisdom will give that person. You know what I'm saying? Where a man that was lying on his deathbed in the hospital, hoping that the Most High wouldn't take his life, can then turn his whole entire life around and stand on 2 feet and become stronger and healthier than he had ever been his entire life. You know what I'm saying? I speak these things from experience. These are the things that many of us go through throughout our lives. But without our confidence and without our wisdom, we don't have the tools necessary to fight that battle. And that's why I wanted to bring this scripture out, because wisdom is better than weapons of war. And that's the thing to understand first and foremost. But one sinner destroyeth much good. And that's the unfortunate thing. The unfortunate thing is that it only takes one mistake from one person to unravel everything. You understand? That's why a failed community that raised that kid in Uvalde, Texas, led to the death of 19 or 20 people? That's terrible, man. That's terrible. But one sinner destroyed much good. That's why one man could take out all those children, those innocent children that hadn't even had a chance to live a proper life yet. That's the craziness that's going on in the world around us. And we have to be ready to fight against those things spiritually. And wisdom is the tool to do it. And brotherhood and communication is the tool to do that. All right. Let me see here. Let me get go ahead and drop that. Let me get Matthew chapter 11 and verse 25. I keep having to get it on the screen here. Y'all forgive me for a second. I just gotta get it on the screen here too. Matthew 11 and 25.
I'll be back in action. So.
Nah, you'll be all right. Don't even sweat it. Ooh, start at verse 24. Now, again, we pulling up Matthew chapter 11, we'll start at verse 24. Go ahead.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 11, verse 24.
Mm-hmm.
But I say unto you that it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom in the day of judgment than for thee.
And that's saying something, because we saw what happened to the land of Sodom. That land got destroyed by the Most High because of the blasphemy that was taking place on that land. It says, "This shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom in the day of judgment than for thee." Well, what's that talking about? If you're looking at it in a modern day sense, we just saw an article about that. Sodom is all over the place now. Sodom is in Tel Aviv. Sodom is in California. Sodom is here in San Antonio, Texas. You know what I'm saying? Sodom is at that high school that raised that kid that shot those kids in Uvalde, Texas. And that's something that's preserved for the day of judgment. But read on. This gets even heavier.
Verse 25. At the time, Jesus, Yahushua answered and said, I thank thee, O Father,
go ahead,
Lord of heaven and earth, because thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent, and hast revealed them unto babies.
And unto babes. The Most High hid those things from the wise and prudent. So the Lord favors Israel even in our lowest state. You know, we're in the ghettos and barrios. Our people are living check to check. But the Most High sees the potential in us being the underdog. And there's just something about that type of story that always resonates, whether it's in movies or shows, where somebody that doesn't stand a chance gets the chance and then overcomes all odds to persevere and to win. You know what I'm saying? The Most High sees us as those people that can receive the blessings from the Most High. It says the Most High hid those things from the wise and prudent, those people that are in power. He would take brothers out the ghetto and basically show the entire world just how powerful he is, because he could take those people from the ghetto and turn them into something special. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing that I see in the I.S.U.P.K time and time again is just how incredible it is to see brothers of all different types of statures come into a very powerful form of themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's like I can't even compare it to anything. It's like when you seen, I don't like to use this example, but like in Dragon Ball Z, when like somebody starts off weak and then the crazy enemy comes against them and they end up training and getting to the point where they can overcome that enemy, that underdog that didn't stand a chance, and now they took on Frieza. Now they took on Cell or Majin Buu or whoever. And they're just strong to the point where now they're the one on top. Now they're the one that becomes wise and prudent. When at first they were looked at as nothing. Slakia, go ahead, sir.
And the Lord does that. Brings brothers out the ghetto, out the barrios, out the reservations, out of the slums. Right, brothers. The Lord does that because He wants to show the next brother that's going through the same thing that he was going through.
Yeah,
that you can do it too. I used to be addicted to drugs and smoking this and messing with whores, and the Lord brought me out and gave me knowledge, and now I teach the Bible and you know what I mean. Now I walk upright. You can do it too.
And that's powerful right there. Because in the Christian church, they're like, well, Christ did all that, but you can't do that because you ain't nothing. But in the U.P.K, we're actually showing people that they can be righteous to the point where perfection is achievable. You know what I'm saying? And the world is just not built to show you that type of ambition. So when you come into the school and you start to find these things out and you start to find these hidden mysteries, like even Christ being a mystery, you know what I'm saying? Learning that Christ is a black man. There's something powerful about that because, you know, even growing up, I always figured that there was something to him that felt like black folks was always family with me. You know what I mean? Then the scriptures actually solidified it when I came into the school, because it then showed me that feeling that I had all along was true. And I thank the Most High for giving me the chance to rise from that dust and to stand up on my own 2 feet and to be stronger in these days. And Christ understood that too. Why? Because he was from Bethlehem, right? He was they said, oh, Nazareth. They said, what good came from Nazareth? Ain't nobody come out of Nazareth. That's like somebody saying, ain't nobody coming out of Chicago. and becoming a neurosurgeon or a doctor or anything special. But then that time again, you see that underdog story take place. You could look at you look at any sport and you see greatness in our people. Floyd Mayweather grew up in a poverty home, and then he became, a fighter with a perfect record, wise and prudent in his craft. You know what I'm saying? So the odds is stacked against us, but the Most High favors Israel for these things. Go ahead and read that one more time. Slaki, go ahead. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Even heavier. All the priests and prophets of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, they come out in the same ghettos, the same barrios, the same gangs, those same reservations.
Mm-hmm.
They come out the same, and they become great men of renown. Brothers like Captain Tazaria.
Captain Katazar.
You know what I'm talking about? Brothers like Captain Katazar.
Yeah.
Captain Mashak.
Mm-hmm.
Brothers like Captain Akkad. Come out of those places. Brothers like Captain Yatazar.
Mm-hmm.
Come out of those places of hardness to become excellent brothers. You know what I'm talking about? Excellent brothers and priests and prophets of the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Brothers that change their life and are changing other brothers' lives.
Brothers that don't care what other people think about them because they know that they're correct.
Because you don't always have to have money to be important.
That's a heavy point right there, man.
You don't always have to be a basketball star to be important.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be a neurosurgeon to be important. You could be a regular old brother from the ghetto working a 9 to 5, but be a priest and prophet of the Most High, man.
And there's no better job than that. I wouldn't rather be anything else. You know what I mean? There's nothing that's more fulfilling than that. You know what I mean? Where every brother comes into the school becomes a juggernaut in their own way. You know what I'm saying? Where you seeing brothers that, scholarly, if they were scholarly in the world, they become scholarly in the truth. If they were hardcore in the world, they become hardcore in the truth. And it scopes them into the most focused version of themselves. And that's something that our people really need. Imagine a whole nation of people like that. How quick problems will get solved. How quick issues will get corrected. You know what I mean? How well families will get built. Families that won't break apart, that fall apart. That's what we really are trying to build here. And it's a step-by-step process. That's why brothers say, put your brick in for the truth. Because we're building our kingdom brick by brick right now when we're tuning into these classes, when we're writing down notes, when you're memorizing scriptures for your officer's test, when you're, waking up early in the morning to get your body ready for Hebrew Academy and physical trials that you're going to need. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, though, any kind of form of discipline is necessary in these times because we have to be ready to endure. Read that again.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 11, verse 24.
But verse 25, go ahead.
Okay, verse 25. At the time, Yahushua answered and said, I thank thee, O Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent, and hast revealed them unto babes.
All right, yeah, and that's the thing. The so-called wise and prudent, the prestigious people on this planet, they don't receive the truth. That's why LeBron James ain't over here doing breakdowns. You know what I'm saying? And even Money Mayweather, he can barely even read Salakia. But they have their glory in their ways. But there's a glory that's way more powerful than that. Somebody in the military that's profession is to wage with weapons of war can't compare to a priest in the U.P.K. because why? Because the scripture says wisdom is better than weapons of war. Wisdom is better than strength.
Right.
Go ahead, sir.
And it's okay to be a basketball star, LeBron James, and not be a priest.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. Just make sure you pay your tithes to Commanding General Yohana. Just make sure you do what you have to do to bring this nation forward. Because everybody can't be a priest. Everybody can't go out on them corners. Everybody can't do the work of the Lord. It's not meant for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's not meant for everybody. Everybody can't be a priest of the Most High, but you can be a brother in the school. You can be a brother and give tithing. You can be a brother and do what's necessary for your brothers and for your sisters. Still like that's it.
Nah, that's too wild, man. That's perfectly. Hey, that's a heavy point to make, man. You got to continue to stay with that same zeal the whole time that you come in here.
Like with Nick Cannon, he should have came to his brothers,
Mm-hmm.
and we would have defended that for him.
Yeah, if he knew that iron sharpened iron, that rabbi wouldn't have ran circles around him, and he would have been checking him, and that guy would have ran with his tail between his legs out the door because he couldn't contend with a scholarly person. You know what I mean? And that's another thing too, is that we have to understand that in us trying to come into the truth, we are going to continuously be, contested in our growth from your own family members trying to tell you that what you're learning is wrong, to, of course, our enemies who made it a point to hide the truth from us. Of course, they're not going to want us to learn these things. So they'll try to stop at any, try to stop us at any point that they can and prevent us from pushing this word out, doing our job. You could drop that. Go ahead and get 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 1. Let me get that real quick.
What time is it?
It's 8:40, sir. 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 1. That's not like Cookie Monster. Is that Cookie
I'm
Monster?
gonna tell you right. Is it though? Is it Cookie Monster? It's Grover. It's one of them. I knew it was one of them. Cookie Monster.
2 verse 1.
One of them. Elm Street, whatever it's called.
Oh, Sesame Street.
Sesame Street. There you go. I said Elm Street.
No, it says that's Sesame Street. You said Elm Street.
Yeah.
It's the wrong street, man. Now I got it on the screen here. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 1. Go ahead.
There's the book of 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
But they were false prophets also among the people.
Wait. You said 1 Peter 2 and 1? I'm looking at 1 Peter 2 1. Look at what you're at. Read where you're at again. Let me see. Yeah, you was using 2 Peter.
It was false prophets among the people too.
I
I
mean, that's a good precept too. I'm talking about.
Leading people astray. You know, some of all these different fake Israelite groups leading people astray.
Like what Officer Kabar brought out not too long ago, Creflo Dollar, trying to say that it's wicked to keep God's laws. Weird. Just completely off.
But that's because he's rich. And he got rich from breaking God's laws. So of course he wants to teach that to everybody. That way everybody can keep believing in him, breaking God's laws, and giving him money.
Mm-hmm. What's up?
I was saying, people who always try to get rich and breaking God's laws is always gonna fall. Like that belong.
Right. Especially when Christ come back. You know, come out with you soon.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Long.
Eddie Long, is he even? He's not alive no more, isn't he?
Man, look, okay, look, Eddie Long, right? Eddie Long blessed those children, right? Then when he came, when he went to Atlanta or something like that, they gave him what you call a sash.
Oh yeah.
The king of Israel, and then they gave him a crown.
That's why he knew it was the end for him.
And they put him in a chair and lifted him up and walked him around the church and all that and everything like that, right? That boy was dead a couple months later. Dead.
King of Israel.
That's exactly what they said. He's the king of Israel. And I said, oh my goodness. I was watching that one and he was dead a couple months later. The Lord don't play about that.
You can't. And that's another thing too, is that you gotta be careful not to mock the Most High. You gotta be careful. Remember when the scripture says that they'll be in danger of hellfire?
Yeah.
That's the same, like I said, that those people that are like that are so prideful that way, that the destruction is ultimately going to be, what they're remembered for. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're not going to be remembered for the glorious moments in their life. They're going to be remembered for the tragedy that occurred at the end of their life, at the end of the road for them. And that's why it's important that we read more scriptures that continue to build that iron brotherhood. You know what I mean? I titled the class Iron Brotherhood because it's about solidifying that bond that we're supposed to have with one another. You know what I'm saying? And in doing so, go ahead and read that. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 1.
This is the book of 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore, laying aside all malice
Mm-hmm.
and all guile.
All what?
Guile.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And hypocrites.
Right, malice. Like, okay, so let's look at it. No, it says in hypocrisies, right? And that's the hypocrisy of the Christian church. You got to lay aside the Christianity, man. You got to lay aside the Islam doctrine because it's all hypocrisy anyways.
All of it.
All of it is hypocrisy, man. You got to lay down that blunt because it's a hypocrisy for you to be smoking weed and wearing that cross on your neck. It's especially a hypocrisy if you smoking weed and you trying to wear the shield of David. You'll be even more in trouble with the Most High because you know better. You know you ain't supposed to put that branch to your nose. You know that smoke is bad for your lungs. And you still want to inhale it because you can't stop getting high and you can't even go to the movies without being high because then it's not as fun as it should be. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, when are you going to grow up? You know what I'm talking about? Like, a lot of us are just big kids. They never grew up because they never stopped being controlled by what feels good to them. We got to stop laying aside malice and guile and hypocrisies, especially hypocrisies, because it's hypocritical for you to say that you're righteous and then do everything behind people's back to get away with feeling good and not having to put up with the repercussions for doing these things. You know what I'm saying? Malice. When I hear the word malice, it reminds me of Malice at the Palace. You remember when the Indiana Pacers and I think it was the Detroit Pistons, they just go out in a brawl. You know, it was the biggest brawl you ever seen. I recall growing up, whenever there was a pep rally at school, there was always racial wars. There was always fights between blacks and Hispanics or blacks and white folks at Judson High School. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. It looked just like the Malice in the Palace. You know what I mean? Officer Kabar was there. I was there. I seen it. I seen the stands off. It's almost dang near where like they had to get police involved, like riot groups, because of how many people were brawling for no reason. No reason at all. No reason at all. And little did they know, black and Hispanics, we're supposed to be loving one another, not hating on each other. That's how you know we're in hell, because hell enlarges itself when we don't know that we're Israelites, and we don't know that we're brethren, and we don't know that the whole world is against us, that the Most High is against us for being against him. You know what I mean? We got to lay those things aside. Read on.
And envies.
Mm-hmm. Envies, being jealous of what the next man has. You know what I'm saying? Being jealous of, you know what I'm saying? What's an example?
Of what?
Envies.
Oh, being jealous of a brother because he got a nice car.
There you go. Or you know what I'm saying?
He got 2 ribs.
Why that brother got 2 ribs? Why can't I wear my rib? You know, like having that mentality is childish, man.
Maybe it's not meant for you.
It's childish. You know what my mentality is? My mentality is I'm gonna just keep putting work for the Most High and not care what, you know what I mean? Like who am I to feel like I deserve anything in this life? When I told the Lord, you know what I'm saying? When I prayed to the Most High, I told him that all I want is wisdom. That's what I want. You know what I'm saying? To want anything more than what I asked for, and to try to be prideful about it and think that I'm owed anything is prideful and deserving of death. But we got to stop being envious just because somebody else is in a different spot than us. Our time will come. The Most High will make sure that you have what you need. The scripture says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything shall be added unto you. You understand what that means? That means walk by faith, man. That means don't be expecting a reward right away for everything that you do. Just follow orders, man. That's what the Most High is showing you all throughout this book. He's showing you how to follow orders so that you may be surprised when you get rewarded, and that surprise is just that much more valid and makes that much more of an impact on your perseverance.
Oh, I'll say some men don't know how, or like aren't able to take care of more than like one wife or none.
Are you still thinking about that?
They don't have
women?
one wife.
Huh?
We do women?
What are you talking about?
Women would be envious too.
Oh
each
yeah,
other.
I mean, yeah.
You know what I'm talking? Women be envious of each other. Women are more envious of each other than brothers are.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
Real talk. So women gotta start leave that spirit alone. Being jealous of each other. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. She ain't even all that cute. Like, oh, what does that have to do with anything? You know what I mean? But they do things like that.
Yeah. It's
why
like
she wearing that shirt looking like that. What?
Why are you looking at the waitress like that?
You know what I mean? You're jealous. What are you jealous of? Right. Why you leave her a tip? You know what I mean? Because you did a good job. Like
she did a job. Like you can't even smile. You can be like, yeah, let me get the number 6 chicken sandwich, and then you look at your girl just like she's like she just giving you the stank eye for no reason. There's some kind of envy going on there. I wonder where she got that from. Housewives of Atlanta?
Right.
Was it the Kardashians? Was it your favorite YouTube channel? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what.
From the devil.
You got that from the synagogue of Satan. You know why? Because the homosexual community is way more envious. That's why that best friend that you have that's gay is low-key always talking smack behind your back. Because he's envious that you're a woman. You know what I'm saying? He's envious that you got the cha-chas and he don't.
Yeah, brother, hey, real talk. They want to be you.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't.
They'll never be that beautiful creature the Most High created. You know what I'm saying? To be the weaker vessel. But in that weaker vessel, it's got its own glory. It's got its own glory. And that we should bask in our role on this planet in the form that the Most High gave us. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And bring glory to our kingdom rather than to ourselves.
That's right.
Right? Read on.
And all evil speakings.
And all evil speakings, go ahead. Verse 2.
Wait. That's women again, brother.
I mean,
you know what I'm she ain't nothing but a HOE.
It's 8:51. I already know we talk about that. It's going to be another 50 minutes of talking about evil speakings. Because if there's one thing I know about women that are from the Christian church is that they love to gossip, right? The gossip is so embedded in us that even, and of course, and this is with brothers too, in a sense, in coming to the truth, that's a demon that we constantly have to ward off because gossip is like, it's like second nature at this point. Oh, did you hear that this girl didn't she got pregnant and she was only 13 years old or blah, blah, blah. Or her, this girl's daughter, she acting up in school. She can't even pass her class. My daughter, she got straight A. There's always evil speakers because we're always trying to one up each other instead of, oh, well, you know what? Maybe I can go help her tutor with her daughter when she's trying to get her homework done. You know what I'm saying? Why can't we be more supportive of one another instead of talking evil about one another? I'll tell you why. It's because our people have been thirsting for a source of information that's going to give them the ambition to actually care about someone else other than themselves. That without the words and wisdom of the scriptures, that we won't build unity the way that we're supposed to build unity. Understand? That's what we're coming back to. The Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge was created and designed so that our people can come to a place where we can stay in agreement with one another, where we're not going to be talking smack about one another. That's the thing that we're waiting to see. We're waiting to see the rest of y'all, join the fold. Salakia. Go ahead, read verse 2.
Verse 2. As newborn babies desire the sincere milk of the world, that they may grow thereby.
That they may what?
Grow thereby.
Yes, in order for you to grow, you got to desire the word of the Most High. Not that blunt. You got to put the blunt down. Put the what's some of the things that we just do all the time rather than read the scriptures? What are you doing in your spare time? Playing video games. Okay, that's all right. That's nothing wrong with that. Come on now. Maybe it's I don't know, watching TV. Reading books is okay. No, what we're talking about is
reading is fundamental.
Yeah, the opposite. Reading, those are good things. It's good if those are your pastimes. Those are good traits to have. Desire the sincere milk of the word of the Most High that you may grow. Okay, yeah, chasing the tail at the club. Instagram models. You can't stop scrolling through Twitter and Snapchat and what's that stuff? You can't stop swiping on Tinder. You know what I'm talking about? Facebook dating. I think they even got Facebook dating now. You know what I'm talking about? You can't stop swiping. Okay, instead of swiping on that, maybe you should swipe through some of these scriptures. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you should swipe on some of these classes on YouTube. Do that a little bit more. Just start there. Get that down. Start with that, and then you might see some growth. You might actually see your spirit start to sprout a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Listening to music.
True.
A lot of people just sit back and listen to music all day long.
Nah, you know what? And what you're saying is real heavy, and I don't even check myself with that because I've been listening to a lot of music, and I need to get back into the zone of listening to classes when I'm in my car. Right? I could throw on a class and listen to that on the way to work. Listen to that on my break. Doesn't always have to be music. You know what I'm saying? Get back into that. Get back into where you just love getting more scriptures. Like when I first learned I was an Israelite and I was listening to Commanding General Yohana, I could not wait for Mondays to see his show on the radio. So much so that I went and watched every archived show that he's ever had up until the point where I was caught up. You know what I'm talking about? Like I went back, and this was like 2010, 2011, and I was going on Blog Talk Radio, and they had like a whole archive of shows. Every single one was like an hour or 2 hours or whatnot. And I would click on it, and I would just listen and write down the scriptures because I was like a newborn babe, and I was desiring the sincere milk of the word because I wanted to grow strong in the truth. I wanted to be able to remember scriptures. I wanted to be able to look at the world that's going on around me and understand what I'm seeing, you know? And I won't be able to do that without the scriptures because it is the foundation of our unity and our wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Last scripture. Let me get Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 5.
Chapter 24?
Yeah, give me Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 5. Ooh-wee.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 24, verse 5.
Proverbs 24 and 5. Read that.
A wise man is strong. Ye, a man of knowledge, increaseth
strength. Come on, read it again, man. Read it strong. Read it like a wise man. Go ahead.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 24, verse 5. A wise man is strong.
A wise man is strong, right? Like Commanding General Yohana, like General Mahiman, like the elders that created the school. You know what I'm saying? You see in the I.S.U.P.K. gradually wise men becoming stronger. You know what I'm saying? It started off as a young man. and he stopped chasing horns. He stopped smoking weed. He became an officer. He's going to camp. He's blazing at camp. He's waking up other Israelites. You know what I'm saying? Bringing more knowledge to his family, and hopefully they catch on to some of it. You know what I'm saying? A wise man is strong. Yea, go ahead.
Yea, a man of knowledge increaseth strength.
You increase your strength when you desire the sincere milk of the word of the Most High. You desire the word, you desire wisdom. Because why? Because you desire power. And men want power. But men in the world seek power through alternative means that actually are not real sources of power. They're temporary. They're ways to fill their lusts and wants and needs. But that does not win wars. That does not win battles. That doesn't win you know what I'm saying? What we're trying to get with our kingdom and our people, it does not achieve victory. You know how I know? Because there's a gay parade in Jerusalem right now of 170,000 people. We have not won yet, but we will, because there's going to come a time where that never will happen in that land ever again.
Right.
The wise man is strong because he increases his knowledge, and that is the source of his strength. That's what gives him the ability to carry on, to move forward, to push through every obstacle that comes before him. Read verse 6. Verse 6, let's get that.
Verse 6. For by wise counsel.
For by what?
For by wise counsel.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt make thy war.
For by wise counsel thou shalt make thy war. They have to understand life is war. Everything that you do in life requires you to seek wise counsel. That's why we have men that are above us, because whenever there's something going on, we ought to take a step back and ask those questions that need to be asked, because we are at war. And if we don't make the right choice, we could end up dead. I've seen it. It's sad to see, but we see it every single day. People losing their war. People without wise counsel to turn to. But you have it right here. We're here to let you know that it is here in San Antonio now. We're going to make sure that San Antonio starts to turn itself around, and that more and more people start to win their wars.
That's right.
Start to win their battles.
Right.
And you ain't going to see no more police shootings. You're not going to see no more gay bars getting shot up, because there ain't going to be nobody that's in them bars. At least not this Black and Hispanic, Native American, Indian, because by wise counsel, we're going to make our war. We're going to make the right decisions. Read.
And in multitude of counselors.
Counselors.
And in a multitude of counselors, there is safety.
Because iron sharpeneth iron. And the more wise men that you put yourself around, then the more wise that you're going to become, because your thoughts are going to keep you safe. Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. Your mind is going to be stronger. And in doing so, you're going to make us stronger as well. This brotherhood is going to continue to get stronger and stronger, and nothing's going to stop that. It's just really a matter of whether or not you're going to take part in it, because it's already exists and it's going to keep going. And all we here to say is come on through. You know what I'm saying? And get into these scriptures and desire more of this truth, because that's ultimately what's going to keep us alive when things get worse. Don't wait for things to get worse. Don't wait for the shells to run out of food, you know what I'm saying, or the bombs to get dropped and the internet to get shut down and the electricity to go out. Let's not wait for those things before we then think, oh, maybe now's the time to actually do something about this life that I'm living, this war that I'm fighting. You should be preparing your war right now. And in the I.S.U.P.K, you just might find a way to win. Matter of fact, you will find a way to win, but you have to endure to the end. So with that, we're the I.S.U.P.K under commanding General Yohana that started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We're here to teach the truth of the Bible, that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are the real Jews that the Bible speaks of. All right. So with that, I'm going to pass the class over to young man Kendall for the security announcements. Go ahead.
These are the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We're the I.S.U.P.K started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they're off limits for 6 months. They're to be saluted only. They're here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 months period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. Maishra means tenth in Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the Treasury Department or a teacher. Priest funds. Free will offering for priests. Not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. Memorial of blowing of trumpets. First day of the 7th month. Sunday, 25th September 2022. Leviticus chapter. You can find this in the book of Leviticus chapter 23, verse 24, verse 25. And if anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirts, pants, headbands, and scarf. And that concludes the I.S.U.P.K security announcements.
I'm saying Christ.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
All right. Want me to read it in Black Kodash?
No. Well, you do. Well, you want to do it? All right.
He's pretty good at it.
I'm saying Christ. Hey, I like that initiative. You feel me?
He does it with me.
All right. You know how to get the orders for what we do?
No, he's not doing that.
Okay. All right. Amadium. Sar. Yapan Mahakwadam. That means turn and face the east. We're going to say the Lord's Prayer in the Lashawan Kodash and then in the English. All right. Whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Abanawa. Shabbat Shemayim.
Shabbat Shemayim.
Kodash.
Ayah.
Shemka.
Yahweh. Malakwaka.
Taba'ah.
Ratazayaka. Hayah. Aisha. Ba'arataza. Kawa. Hayah. Bashamayim.
Natan.
Lanawa.
Lakam. Kal. Yawam. Wasalakna. Kabiwatina. Kasilakna. Kabiwatina. Walala. Kabiayna. Banasai 1. Abal. Hawashai now. Mayan. Rai. Kaya. Laka. Hamalakwa. Waha'ala. Wataparat. Walamyam. Aman. And what we said was, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation. But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. And the power and the glory forever. So be it. All right. So I'm going to turn and face the brothers for one courtesy salute. Men of Israel.
Wait.
Oh yeah. Slow. Yeah. What's the word for Mashabia? Okay. Slow. All right. Men of Israel. Amadium Shabbat. Amadium Barak. Yahweh Shem Yahshai Barakatham. Yadi Matah. All right, Sarah, turn and face the sisters for one courtesy salute. All right, men of Israel, Amadium Shabbat, Amadium, Barak, Yahweh Shema Adam Ba'Shem Yahushai, Yadi Matah. Class dismissed. You can go ahead and end it.